And they were nervous about it. Again, it took all semester talking about it. And I kept thinking, really? Just coffee? Not a big deal. just a cup of coffee. And so one of my favorite stories is that finally, and most of them were seniors, and this was the spring. And finally, this one young woman came up to me during the exam period. And she burst into my office and she said, I did it. I really did it. In fact, I asked 2 different guys out, and they went out with both of them. And now they're really like, well, what do I do? And I said, I don't know, get out of my office. I did not tell you to do that. That's a mess. I don't know. And besides, you're moving in 2 weeks to Mississippi, so I guess what? You know, you just created chaos, so good luck. I mean, I'll pass you, but really, you know. So over the semesters after that, what I got a little smarter every semester, and finally, if you come to dinner and continue to talk about this with me, I will give you this assignment. I now, when I give this assignment, which I give to Boston College students every semester, they have a set of rules. There's a whole set of rules because they just couldn't do this, you know, without a lot of help. You guys look much smarter, but well, don't tell us. We're getting okay. So what happens now is when I give the assignment, I give them 2 weeks to complete it. 2 weeks to ask somebody out for a cup of coffee or tea, and then I give them a whole set of rules. And I can explain the rules to you if you come and talk to me a little bit more. But some of the rules are things that are maybe a little more challenging, like there's no alcohol on a first date. That's only difficult for the 21 and older set, right? And a first date is about just finding out. It's just reconnaissance work, right? It's just information gathering. And I have a fantastic collection of reflections that students have written for me. So they have to go on the date. They have to ask me out and go on the date. Look, these girls are very excited about this. They're going to try this. And then they go on the date, and that's it. A first date is 45 to 90 minutes long. An hour and a half, get out. In fact, if it's going really well, get out sooner. I mean, 60 minutes, no one's interesting after 3.5 hours. No one. I mean, maybe I am, but no one. No. So, if it's going well, and students say this to me all the time, it was going well, so I got out at 60 minutes. Because then, you know, the person might actually want to go out with you again. And there's all kinds of rules, but what I've gotten, and then they have to write a reflection and hand it in to me. And I've gotten these gorgeous reflections from students about the funny and awkward things about it, sort of how awkward it is to ask somebody out in person. That's one of the rules. No texting, I know who you are. To ask someone out in person to muster the courage, both men and women, right? And sometimes that creates awkwardness. I have a great reflection. I think it's in the YouTube clip of a student who wrote me this great reflection about her feelings as she said, my heart was pounding as I approached my target. I had to speak to her about that later. I don't know if you're reading this situation correctly. Wow. But to talk to students about the awkwardness and the difficult stuff about trying to do something that seems subtly and weirdly countercultural, something that doesn't sort of fit in our culture anymore, and it's a thing that's a terrible thing to lose, a really important social support system and a social script that helps us to really get to know each other in normal and good and healthy and really just wonderful ways. And so I have tons of great stories of students also experiencing really great joy, really finding things. I was thinking this was, as we were listening to the readings in the gospel, to really discover what is wonderful, valuable, and really worthwhile in each of us. I remember reading this one account, this young woman who said, I didn't know what we would talk about for an hour or an hour and a half, but what amazed me was how nice it was to have someone just look at me and see me. And it reminded me, when I read that, of John Paul II's great writings in Theology of the Body, where he talks about being beheld, in the beginning of Paul's letter to Timothy, like, beloved, to feel, and on the first day you're not going to be beloved, but to feel that someone is taking time out of his or her day just to be with you and to wonder who you are and to wonder at who you are and to really be able to turn around and ask someone else, who are you? And how's your life? And what does your reality look like? And to share that with me. And she said, just in 90 minutes, we found out so much about each other. And she said, I don't even know if we'll ever go out again, but she said, I know that I can really ask that person, at least for friendship, because I really feel like he saw me. He took the time to see me. And that to me is what John Paul II does really well in Theology of the Body, is to talk about that this is what we really long for, to really be seen. Not to be seen, but to be seen, to have someone gaze upon us and to take a moment to really see who we are. And so I'm going to wrap this part of it up by saying this. Though I said that those two conversations were the reasons that I'm sort of here today, and that I give talks on dating and relationships and hookup culture, but the real reason that I give this talk, and that I love to talk about this with young adults, is that as Catholics, as Catholic Christians, this is who we are. If we really believe that we're made in the image and likeness of God, God is a relationship. And so we're called to be being people of relationship and people in relationship. And whether that be in relationship, in close friendships, and closeness with your siblings, and closeness with your parents and your children, and your boyfriend and your girlfriend or your spouse, that experience of really seeing someone, really being in relationship with someone authentically and genuinely, really giving yourself to someone, that's what we really long for. At the end of the day, that is what God made us for. And so if you want to talk some more about this, come to dinner and we can have some more discussion then. Let's get back to the important thing. So thank you very much.